وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. أما بعد أحبتي في الله. Imagine that you have a concern or a problem and then you come to consult with me. And then I will tell you kind of answer that exactly the same as was in your mind. No. I want something different. I know this. I want something different. So you are looking for the differences. And you think that's different opinion, it might help you in your situation. It might solve your problems. And that will lead us to a question. Is that differences in opinion, is it a sort of mercy or punishment? Is it good or bad? You know? Before I answer this question, I look at the statement of the, of Tabi'een and follower of Tabi'een and all of those scholars. I couldn't find any person that mentioned that the differences are evil or bad, except 3 statements, and that within a context. I found that statement with Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala an. One time when Imam Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu ta'ala an, that he went to the trip of Hajj, he completed the prayer instead of shortening the prayer and making qasr. And he has his opinion. And Abdullah ibn Mas'ud has different opinion. That should make qasr in that trip. However, when they called for the prayer, he joined them. And then they came back to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. They said to him, have you left your opinion? You changed your mind? You know what he said to them? Wallahi la in ada'a ra'yi khayru min an ada'a al-jama'ah. It's better for me to leave my standpoint, my opinion, better than to leave my community, my ummah, my jama'ah, the unity. And then he added on and said, al-khilafu shar. Differences that it's evil, sort of evil. And if you look at the context, that the type of differences that could create conflict and problems, it's not just in any difference in opinion, because they're still having difference in opinion. Is that right? Even he joined them in a prayer, he never changes his mind, and he still have difference in opinion. So he didn't meant that in differences, generally speaking, that is bad. So that lead to a conflict, lead to hatred, lead to bad feeling, that is bad. And also I found a statement of Imam Mohammad ibn Abdul Wahab in his book of Tawheed that mentioned about the differences, because he was talking about the difference in Aqidah in that context. Yes, which is not something that preferable, because we agree that the differences in dhanniyat, not in qat'iyat, and differences in the fiqh matters, not in Aqidah matters. Aqidah matters that lead to major issues, So when he referred, he didn't mean that all differences, even in fiqh and all other matters. So there is in a certain difference that what he meant. So we should not take that statement and apply it in every situation. And I remember that's another person that similarly said, al-khilafu shar. However, all others, they say this mercy is good things. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he said, Anna li bikhtilafihim humra na'am. This is one of the great things that the Sahaba, they have differences. He was happy with the differences, because if they have only one opinion, I have no other choice. I have to follow it. And the statement that more often scholars repeating, اتفاقهم حجة قاطعة واختلافهم رحمة واسعة. Whatever they agreed upon, that something has a solid evidence and opinion that I have to follow. وَاخْتِلَافُهُمْ رَحْمَةٌ وَاسِعَةٌ. Their differences is a sort of mercy. And Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, one time, one of his students, he said to him, I collected the differences between the scholars in a book, and he named it Kitab al-Ikhtilaf. I said, no, I don't agree with you. You should change the title. Name it Kitab al-Sa'ati. The book of mercy, of variety, of different opinion. It's not like a differences. By the way, differences are something as a sunnah ilahiyya wa sunnah kawniyya, something that's always exists exist since the first creation. Differences happen between angels. ما كان لي من علم بالملأ الأعلى إذ يختصمون. So they have differences. And remember the hadith of the one who killed 100 souls and then died. Angels of mercy came and angels of punishment came, and they have kind of dispute. And then Allah sent a judge in between. So differences happen between even angels, between prophets, father and a son, Dawood and Sulaiman. As Allah mentioned, وَدَاوُودَ وَسُلَيْمَانَ إِذْ يَحْكُمَانِ فِي الْحَرْثِ. And Allah, at that situation, He said, فَفَهَّمْنَاهَا Sulaiman. Sulaiman, in that situation, had the better understanding. It doesn't mean that he is in a higher level than his father Dawood. No, it doesn't mean that. Like sometimes a person, he will know a certain knowledge, it doesn't make him better than the other person. Like the Hudhud, he knew something that Sulaiman doesn't know. قَالَ أَحَطُّ بِمَا لَمْ تُحِطْ بِهِ. I knew something that you didn't know. So it doesn't make him that's better than Sulaiman. So we have to understand that within that context. So differences is there. Sulaiman and Dawood actually have many differences. It's in the Sunnah where mentioned about that lady came complaining, and she said, I lost my child, and that child mine. You know the story maybe. So each one of them claim that the left child, that's her, because the wolf came and took one of them. And each one of them claimed that one is still alive, that's her. So he said, you know what, Sulaiman, he said, bring to me a knife. One of them said, why you need it? He said, you know what, I gonna cut it in half. So each one of you take your half. So the real mother said, no, I don't want it. Give it to her. Because she preferred that a child still alive than, I get half of it, and what's the point? Said, you take it. Despite that, the first one came and crying. I said, oh, this is my child. But he has a wisdom, to solve the issue. But I'm just saying, that's what Sulaiman and Dawood, he gave it to the one who was crying. But Sulaiman, with his wisdom, he tested, them, and he gave it to the real mother. But I'm just saying, they have difference in opinion, difference in way to solve the issues. That those are prophet. Harun and Musa, in the Quran, they have differences in a way how they look at the things. Abu Bakr and Umar, they love each other and they have differences. So now, why you feel bad sometimes about those differences? And I'm going back now to the question. Is it rahmah or adab? Is it a sort of mercy or sort of punishment? What do you think now? It depends. It depends. Could be yes. Could be this and that. What's make it depends. I give you a statement from the Rasulullah, and after that you will rise. One time, two of the Sahaba came to the Prophet ﷺ. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and the other one. And they have dispute about the recitation of the Quran. Because there are different mood of recitation, and the Rasul taught those ones and the other ones with different ways. So all of that meant to be. أنزل القرآن على 7 أحرف فاقرأوا ما تيسر منه كل شاف كاف. So the Rasul asked Abdullah ibn Mas'ud to recite, and then asked the other person to recite. And then the Rasul told him, despite the differences, كلاكما محسن كلاكما محسن ولا تختلفوا فإن من كان قبلكم اختلفوا فهلكوا. So in this statement, the Rasul actually talking about two types of differences. Despite that they have differences in recitation, he told them, كلاكما محسن. Both of them are right. Both are right. Why you have issues? Because this meant to be and this meant to be. Despite the differences, that's fine. But he told them, do not have that dispute as the people before you and being destroyed. What that dispute? That lead to them to having differences in heart. They have issues. They have problems. So basically, there are two types of differences. It could be good and bad. It could be a rahmah. It could be adab. It could be niqmah. فالاختلاف رحمة إذا التزمت ضوابطه وآدابه وهو نقمة إذا اختلت ضوابطه وآدابه. I hope that will be clear. It's a mercy if you are keeping the manners and the regulations. And it's punishment or a trial or something bad if you have a lack of manners and lack of conditions, that are related. So it depends, all of that. So we need to know what is the adab and what is the dawabit. Where the area of differences that was permissible was not, and how we deal with those differences. So that's how we can turn all type of differences to be something good, not something bad. Otherwise, we're going to see that. And we see in the ummah, because of slight differences, they have issues. Can you imagine? I remember one time a person told me, I'm not going to pray in that mosque. Why is that? He said, because that mosque, they have a bid'ah. I said, what's the bid'ah? He said, they do qunut in Fajr. Wallahi, he's not praying in the masjid next to his house, going somewhere else, because the masjid next to his house, they will make a qunut in Fajr. Okay, that's your opinion, there's no qunut. But other scholars, they said it's qunut. And their opinion based on 5 hadiths. Not even one hadith from the Prophet ﷺ. You don't want to accept it, that's fine. But why are you causing this trouble for yourself and for them? You abandon the mosque for such a reason. I'm just giving you examples. There are many people, they have issues. They couldn't accept that. They have no tolerance of differences in opinion. And when we have differences, they think as if that's a kufr. And they start making fusuq and tabdi', that's a bid'ah, that's haram, this something like this, and start accusing each other. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and Umar ibn al-Khattab. Do you know how many differences in between in terms of masail? Over 600 mas'ala. Over 600 topics or issues, matters, they have differences in opinion. But at the same time, when the people of Kufa asking Sayyidina Umar to send them good teacher to teach them Islam, he sent to them Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. And he told them, Wallahi, لَقَدْ آثَرْتُكُمْ بِهِ عَلَى نَفْسِي. I prefer you over myself by sending Al-Mas'ud to you because that's the one I trust to teach you Islam. And even they have differences, 600 differences, Mas'ud, not only one, and they love each other. We are far from that, my dear brothers and sisters. We have to correct ourselves. We're supposed to talk about, fiqh and akhta in salah or something. That's, the khatra we agreed upon. But then after the khatra of yesterday, there are many issues arise. I said, you know what? Let's talk about these topics. First of all, to eliminate all of these hatred, source of hatred and problems because of matters of fiqh. Those scholars, despite difference in opinion, they love each other. So nothing wrong to have differences in opinion. What is wrong to have differences in heart? What's united us more than what things that we have different about? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring all our hearts together. Yes, brother. Yeah, you have a question. You raise your hand. No, see now, that's a difference. That's why I said there are differences that you can accept, the differences not. Generally speaking, any person that's not even not perfect, you can pray behind that person as long as he has no lack of aqidah. So the Prophet said, "Salli khalfa kulli barrin wa fajr." Despite that, any mosque, any time mosque, we don't want, if the person that has lack of aqidah, then you cannot choose him as a new imam. So there's 2 types of fusuq. Fusuq al-jariha or fusuq al-aqidah. If somebody has fusuq al-jariha, like he's a liar, he's a bad person with his character, that is still kind of pray behind. There's no issue. But if he has, fusuq of aqidah, his aqidah is questionable, then you cannot choose it as an imam. The Sahaba prayed behind Al-Hajjaj, and they never repeat their salah. And who's Hajjaj? Hajjaj killed one of the Sahaba, his name Abdullah ibn Zubayr, killed one of Tabi'een, Sa'id ibn Jubayr. He hit the Kaaba with manjanik, he destroyed the Kaaba, and he did many bad things. He had other good things. But in the same time, the Sahaba, they prayed behind him, and they never repeated their salah. So you can pray, even if somebody has major sins and not perfect, as long as he has correct aqidah. So this is what the concern. Now that will lead us to other question. Those people in that masjid, as you mentioned, they have correct aqidah? No, they didn't have correct aqidah. Their aqidah is corrupted. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all. Okay. اللهم اغفر ذنوبنا واستر عيوبنا وبلغنا في الدارين مطلوبنا اللهم نسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة آمين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب